so strong.
Today I felt like being crafty, and upstairs I have a utensil holder, but it's got Christmas trees on it yet. And so what I've decided to do is make one for Valentine's Day because that's coming up. And it's going to be a very simple project, very easy project. I used to do a lot of sewing, but I don't do that much anymore. So I have, if you're a quilter or any kind of a seamstress, you know what stash is, and I have a ton of it. But I have Valentine stash and I have February stash, and then I have like these little bits and pieces of just pieces of lace that I've collected over the years and put them in a bag. But someone gifted me this big can. It is excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for y'all. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, it's a big can, you know, it's a big can of beans, empty obviously. And I'm just going to take the wrapping off it. It's all cleaned out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pieces of fabric with some Gorilla Glue. And I'm just going to take some glue and I'm just going to wipe it on here like this. And then I'm just going to place my fabric over it in whatever design or collage that I choose of. I haven't chosen, you know, what exactly I'm going to do yet, but I'll bring you over here and show you that with me with a little more close up. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll go around the top of it with some lace. I think maybe that would make it kind of cute. So these are, I'm going to put little feet on it. These are from a necklace. They're just little white beads from a necklace. They're like a pearl color, because I have just bags of broken necklaces and, you know, kind of gaudy jewelry and stuff, because, you know, these little button things like this make really good feet for something like this, to keep the metal, in case it gets wet, you know, to keep the metal off my my enamel table that it sits on behind me. If you've ever seen my videos before, I have an enamel table island behind me, and I want to make sure that this doesn't rust on top of that, just in case it gets wet, because it is in the kitchen. So these are going to be glued onto there so that it won't rust. All right, I'm going to bring you over here. We're going to get started. What I decided to do was use all of my printed fabric and no solids. I'm going to just do all printed on here. I think that would look pretty good. I like that. So what I decided to do is use all my printed fabric and not any solids, because I think the printed just looks better for me. It's just, you know, it's personal preference. I just like the way that the printed is going to look. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting on my Gorilla Glue. I'm going to get a good generous amount on there. And I can take my brush and just kind of move it around a little bit. Make it nice and tacky and sticky. Oh, it looks like I need to put a little bit more over here on this side. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to go around the whole thing with these, with my fabric. And then, you know, like I said, this is a very easy thing. It's not a difficult project at all. I mean, I think anybody could do this. I mean, pretty easy thing to do. I mean, even little kids could. I mean, if you didn't want to use Gorilla Glue, you could use school glue on it for Valentine's Day cards or whatever at school. That would work for that as well. Because the top really isn't sharp at all. It's, so yeah, I think so. All right, I will be back and this will be covered, and then we'll move on to the lace. Okay, so I went through my lace bag and I decided that I'm going to do white lace around the top. And again, I'm just going to use Gorilla Glue, but except for this time, I'm not going to brush it on. I'm just going to tack it right around the edges and then put my lace around it. But I want to make sure that I end it at a seam so that it doesn't look kind of funny. Right over here. I missed the seam. There it is. I'm at the end to my other seam pretty soon. Here, I think I'm gonna glue this first before I cut it, because if I cut it too short, then it's not gonna look right. I don't want to accidentally do that. I'm just gonna overlap it just a hair onto the other piece of lace. There we go. And now I'm going to cut it. And then maybe just a little dab of glue on that little end there. And then I think we're going to call this good. We're going to let it dry. Just got to straighten it out a little bit. I think it's very cute. I'm going to clean it up a little bit and cut off some of the scragglies, and yeah, I think so. This is my my new utensil holder for Valentine's Day. And then I'll go ahead and I will glue on these to the bottom after the top dries a little bit. But these are going to be like the little feet, just from an old necklace that broke. Now it's time to glue the little feet on, which of course is quite easy. I'm just going to put one in this little middle ring here because that seems to be the widest part and it seems to fit in there quite well. I'm just going to put 4 of them, 2 on each side of each other, just like so. And I believe we are done. I don't have one for St. Patrick's Day either, so maybe I'll make one for St. Patrick's Day also. Just gonna flip that over, give it a little push, and let that dry. And then I'll have one for Valentine's Day, a utensil holder. It's so strong.